Corporations are a huge problem in modern society, and probably not for the reasons that you think. I want to talk about my grievances with corporations and kind of the origins of corporations and what's led us to where we're at today. So, initially, corporations were much started as a way to pool money and resources of individuals together and alleviate some of the risk that they would individually take in order to be able to make an investment in something that would be able to hopefully bear fruit in the future. So, say for instance, someone wanted to fund the travel of a ship from England to America, which they didn't know it was America at the time, but funding that trip would require some type of corporation or some type of entity that would need funding, whether it be government or private companies. And these would be corporations where people would pool their money and pool the resources in order to be able to fund this investment. And that's sort of where corporations started. And that's kind of the origin of America. So it's no surprise that America, being the hotbed of corporations, that we are, is the way that it is because of the origins of America being funded, the travel to America being funded through these corporations. So I want to talk about now where corporations have went over time and where we're at today with corporations. So corporations initially were basically going to be a source, like I said, a source of people pooling money and resources and funding some sort of investment into a project that they wanted to see produced. Potentially it could be a new technological advancement. It could be a new engineering feat. It could be any kind of new thing that people wanted to create. Whether it be creating TVs, creating appliances, having a refrigerator in your house. All of these things are the result of corporations. Now, much of the things in your life and in your house are a result of some sort of corporation coming together and pooling their money and resources to be able to produce the products that you see. Something as simple as a pencil has to have a huge corporation to be able to build and design these pencils and be able to effectively ship and sell them properly. So that's where we're at with the way corporations kind of started. So they started as the operation to be able to sell, create and sell things and make things beneficial for people in society, generally speaking. But now we're seeing a lot of corporations sort of drift off into a different area, and it's much more dystopian than I would have ever thought. So corporations, maybe early on, and this is sort of goes back to the mindset of a lot of sort of boomer perspective of thinking that if you just work hard and you do your best, that you're gonna make it somewhere and you can make it in life, and that seems to be a fallacy and a lie from my perspective, because a lot of times nowadays corporations will have people who work for 40 plus years for their corporation, and as soon as they get sick one day and something happens, or some injury happens to someone, they will immediately turn their back on them. For instance, I think there was some kind of I think I remember watching a video where a guy was talking about he got injured at a plant where I think I can't remember if it was John Deere or something. It was some kind of plant building something, and then all of a sudden he got injured, and then they didn't want to reimburse him for anything. They didn't want to help him at all. They would much rather try to say that he was faking everything than to actually help their employee who had been working there for so many years. But it doesn't make sense the way that these corporations now think that they're completely devoid of any sort of human interaction. And that's the start of where I want to go, and what my grievance with corporation. They no longer have a human perspective, and they don't really care about the individuals that are working for them. They're going to feign that they do. They're going to pretend that they care. They're going to act like they have something to do with their employees. But in generally speaking, if you actually look at their actions and what they're actually doing on a day-to-day basis for their employees, there's nothing that says that most of these corporations actually care about the individuals that work for them. And you can look at every example possible. Any company who has any amount of employees is not doing anything for these employees. And I'm not just talking about pay. I don't think that pay is necessarily the end-all be-all that a lot of people make it out to be. I think that it's a component to things, but I think that there's a problem within the entire system that is the problem with the pay scale. And you can look at that, the broader speaking, like the Fed, the money printing that's been going on. Those are the more likely problems for the reason that you're not seeing your wages go up, the reason that your purchasing value is going down. But the actual corporations themselves, it's not about how much money they're giving you, because they're going to be squeezed on the other end too at some point. And I don't necessarily blame them when some of that goes on. But I would say that the corporations don't, just look at people and treat situations like with a people first perspective on these things. So I would like to see more corporations taking an actual care about their employees and be able to say, hey, John, 117, you've been working here a while. You've done really well. I appreciate everything you've done. How about, you just take the next week off? Like, I mean, literally, so acts of kindness from the company. Because right now, it seems like the idea of the American society is that you have to work 99% of your life, and you only get to enjoy basically your childhood, and you don't get to enjoy anything else. You only get 10%. You only get 1% of your life to actually enjoy outside of work, or whatever. And you have to just grind this day in and day out for years on end, and you get nothing really to show for it. I mean, that's the dystopian kind of thing that we're stuck in. And I know there are individual decisions that people can make to circumvent this, but I think that a lot of times that these corporations take advantage of a lot of people's I guess not necessarily, I think they take advantage of people's ignorance, and they basically see people viewing these corporations as like, hey, I'm big company, and I should be glad that I'm working for a big company. Like I'm like John 117 should be glad to be able to work at such a big company. Like a lot of companies view the employer to employee relationship that way, that if I get to work for some big corporation, like say I got to work for Amazon, or I got to work for Microsoft, or whatever, then that would be like something that I should be glad the big corporation employed me. You should be happy, whatever. That's the kind of idea that they're pushing forward, and it's not conducive to good relationships as people. And I think that if you are going to have an HR department, that should be the first thing that priority on the list is employee happiness. Not necessarily are the employees saying naughty words at work. Well, they might be, and they might not be. And who really, at the end of the day, who cares? I don't really care. I'm not going to call someone out necessarily if they're saying, they're swearing at work, whatever. I'm not going to just call them out, you know, and say, "Oh, he sweared." You know, it's like a kid tattling. It doesn't make any sense. You know, if they wanna go in there and, you know, tell them that they can't do it, it's fine. But I'm not tattling on someone, and I don't think it's right for HR to be handling these, you know, frivolous squabbles, you know, or whatever. I think that it should be handled, you know, more of it should be focused on making sure that the employees are happy doing what they're doing. And a lot of it, you may not necessarily be happy. You know, I mean, working at McDonald's may not be the best thing. You know, working for a McDonald's and you know, having to work at that corporation may not be the best, you know, most enjoyable job, but they should make it at least bearable to you, to where you're not really, you know, wanting to not live after every day of work. And that's where I think a lot of the corporations fail, is they don't prioritize like the, you know, employee happiness. They don't prioritize the you know, being forthcoming with their employees. A lot of times they don't want to want to reward good employees. They just seem to want to, like, they punish bad employees plenty enough. That's fine, but it seems like they just don't want to reward any employees at all. You know, I think it would be great just to, you know, if you had an employee who stayed there, you know, for a couple of years, and then all of a sudden just randomly surprise them with stuff. You know, it's kind of like if you were dating someone for a while and they just never got you anything. They never got you a gift. They never did anything for you. Why would you still be dating them? Why? Ask yourself why that you want to be with, you know, working for these corporations if they don't value you and value your time. And that's where I think this huge divide, and that's why, like, the Great Resignation, as they've dubbed it, which with a lot of people not going back necessarily into the workforce right now. I think there are other reasons. Obviously, money printing and a lot of these other situations are exacerbating the problem. But I think that overall, a lot of it has to do with people just wanting to be respected, wanting to be valued. And corporations don't seem to want to value people. And they only want to pay lip service that they value people. And that's sort of where modern day corporations, the bubble that they live in, and they do all these sort of lip service things where they talk about, oh, we care about our employees, we care about these issues that are going on in modern society. But in reality, when you look at it and you actually look at the, you know, bread and butter of what they're actually doing and what they're versus what they're saying, they're always in contradiction. They're always going to be in contradiction because they don't really care. They don't really actually care about any individual employees. They don't care about. They're just a governing body over a large mega corporation that doesn't care about anybody. All it is there to, you know, try to make sure that they aren't being sued, and to hopefully make money in the process, make a lot of money in the process. That's just what I want to look at with corporations, and that's sort of my critiques of modern corporations. I hope you've enjoyed this topic, and I hope you contribute to the discussion down in the comment section below. Please leave a comment, like the video if you've enjoyed the discussion, and also I have some links in the description to some of my other channels, my Twitch channel, my Vim channel, and also if you would like to support the channel, I'd be ever grateful. There's some crypto wallet addresses down there below as well. But thank you for your time, and hope you enjoyed this video, and have a nice day. This is Trey's Think Tank signing out.